right, so when federal officials stepped in to help out Maui after the fires, their intent was to make things better. But a new study shows that FEMA may have made the market worse for residents unintentionally. Nick Grube from Civil Beat joins us now live from Washington, D.C. Good morning to you, Nick.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about what the intent was for FEMA. What were they trying to do?
Yeah, well, so this piece is a piece that we published with ProPublica, and we've done some investigation into FEMA's direct lease program, which originally was supposed to target short-term vacation rentals and use empty vacation rentals to house wildfire survivors. But what we found through our reporting was that FEMA actually sidestepped its own policies when it was leasing these homes. And some of these homes were previously part of the local long-term rental market. And so FEMA's policy stated that, while they were supposed to avoid units that were available to the general public and instead focus on vacation rentals and second homes, that didn't actually always happen.
Now, how much are we talking about these rents going up for Maui residents?
Well, as we know, we've seen FEMA offering vacation rental rates to people who are willing to house wildfire survivors. And so that could be as much as $8,000 per month for a two-bedroom unit that would typically go for about $2,000 a month on the local rental market. Now, one study that FEMA commissioned showed that the rents had actually increased by about 44% on the island, and that landlords had actually changed their behaviors in the sense of potentially pushing out residents in order to seek some of these higher prices.
Something interesting in this, Nick, is that you spoke to some people who owned these rentals, and what was their experience like with FEMA when they were dealing with getting these higher rents or getting more money from them?
So the landlords that we interviewed said that FEMA and its contractors didn't seem to put much effort into vetting their properties before they signed up for the program. Some said that they were more interested in speed. And when they talked to us about their experiences, they said that they received very few questions about whether they had prior tenants, and were often just taken at their word that their places were empty and that they hadn't evicted anybody beforehand.
Now, you also looked at the Council for Hawaiian Advancement, which is a local nonprofit. Now, what did they do that was different from federal officials?
Yeah, well, the CNHA sets up a really interesting contrast to what FEMA did, because they took several steps that the federal government did not. And for instance, they would check property tax records to make sure that properties participating in their own leasing program were in fact vacation rentals. And if they were long-term rentals, previously they would take additional steps to make sure people hadn't been pushed out. They would reach out to prior tenants, and they would also ask the applicants directly if they had evicted anybody and to certify that they hadn't. And in our interviews with officials from the CNHA, they said that actually helped them weed out some possible bad actors.
All right, it's a really interesting article on this. You can read it at civilbeat.org, or you can text 66866 to get the newsletter. But we want to thank Nick for joining us live from Washington, D.C. today.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.